The Giants and the Indianapolis Colts is the next game that I want to talk about here. My matchup that matters is the Giants defensive line with no Dexter Lawrence
Yep.
going up against a Colts offensive line
Yep.
that whooped ass last week. I mean,
All
335.
season.
What'd you say?
They've been really good all
Oh
season.
yeah, I mean they obviously have
Yeah,
been all
I
year.
know.
They're one of the best offensive lines, but
Yeah.
335 rushing yards. That was the most of that was the most in any single game for any team so far this
Yes.
year. 173 of those yards came before contact. That is an offensive line stat, and this is a group that is just. I mean, they're playing so well, and they're going up against a defensive line with the New York Giants that has not played well. Last week against the Falcons, who are also a good rushing team, because the Colts, got to think about it. They want to run the football, right? It wasn't just last week. Like, that's what they want to do. They want to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor, with
Jonathan
Anthony
Taylor. Yeah.
Richardson. They
Yep.
just, that's what they want to do on the offensive side of the ball. The Falcons are the same way. They want to run the football, especially last week, starting a rookie quarterback for the first time. The Giants defensive line against the Falcons offensive line and just run defense in general, 40.9 run defense grade. That just does not bode well for a team that was incredible last week in the Indianapolis Colts against a Titans front that had been playing well. Like, we've praised Tavondre Sweat, we've praised Jeffrey Simmons, and this Colts offensive line still was able to go after him. Dalton Wasserman on the review show did a great job pointing out, when the Colts have a pulling offensive lineman, they are so tough to beat. It's down blocks, and it's getting these massive dudes in motion, just going straight at their assignments. And so the running backs know how to run behind it. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor had a very successful day. So to me, if the Giants cannot play much better along their defensive front against this Colts offensive line, Colts are going to do the same exact thing that they did to the Tennessee Titans last week, and they're just going to run the football straight at them all day long. So Giants defensive line, Colts offensive line is my matchup that matters. What about you?
Yeah, that was mine as well, given the fact that Jonathan Taylor, 218 yards, 3 touchdowns. And again, when you have a guy like Anthony Richardson, who is capable of some incredible plays downfield, but isn't consistent. I don't think that that's an adjective we would use to describe Anthony Richardson quite yet. That's something that insulates against, some of those turnover-worthy plays or putting the ball in harm's way. It's, can you get stuff done on the ground and not leave it up to Anthony Richardson getting those chunk plays? So that was my matchup that matters, but it also does feed into my plus factor which is Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson on the ground as well. Because he's been used on 32 design runs since resuming the starting role in week 11. That's 10 more than any other quarterback during that span. He's forced a missed tackle on a league high 29% of those types of carries, and he's rushed for 12 first downs. And so when he factors into the rushing game, on top of a guy like Jonathan Taylor, on top of the fact that you have an offensive line that's capable of blocking and doing wonderful things on the ground, that's really hard to stop. And I think that that's what the Colts are trying to do. That's the identity they're trying to establish offensively right now. And that should be doable against a Giants defensive line that, again, like you said, is lacking right now.
I'll go with Laiatu Latu as my plus factor. I think that Anthony Richardson's a good shout out. If you didn't mention him, I probably would have, but it's, again, a Giants offensive line, just going back to the trenches, that's struggling along with their defensive line. Evan Neal's really struggling at the tackle spot. Jermaine Illuminor is better at that left tackle spot. So if Laiatu Latu is lined up against Illuminor more times than he is Neal, okay, he might have a little bit more of a quiet day, but 14.0 pass rush win percentage this year, 37 total pressures. He's got 4 sacks, and Latu has shown flashes. A couple weeks ago against the Lions, of all teams, he had 5 total pressures. He had a sack. He had another quarterback hurry. He had a 14.8 pass rush win percentage and an elite 90.5 pass rushing grade. So Latu, I think, could come on strong in these last 2 games because he's a really talented player and has the opportunity to do so in this matchup. So maybe we get a little bit of a game record performance from Laiatu Latu here as that X factor. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below. So if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you come one today.